Hi and welcome to the Creative Treehouse. My name is Robin Broom and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. I'm so glad you came to the Treehouse today. And this is our project today. It is a really fun card using the Notes and Totes bundle. And I love all the colors, but I'm also a blue and green person. So we're going to go through the whole entire thing. One of the fun things about this particular card is the magazine or whatever that's in the tote. I decided that it would be fun if it was not attached, it came out, and that it actually worked like a magazine so that you could write extra messages in here. So that is, I was just so excited when I came up with that. So, and of course it opens like a regular card as well, but there's an extra special message inside. So let's work on it together, and I'll just show you all the little details, and I am big on the details to make it really, just really pop, a really wow card. All right, so here we go. It's the Notes and Totes bundle. This is what the stamp set looks like. And let's see, it's the standard card base that we're going to be using, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then this DSP, I'm going to have to look up all of these names, but I will also have them all on my blog, which is creativetreehouse.blog. And I'll have measurements and all of the different products listed. And we're going to be using Misty Moonlight, and I want to say this is Coastal Cabana, but now I'm about to second guess myself. And Very Vanilla, and I'm making this for a class, a Notes and Totes class, and I wanted to use as few inks as possible. So for this card, we're only using Misty Moonlight and a little bit of Petal Pink. I just had to add that in there. So pretty easy if you don't have all of the colors. And super fun as far as all of the dies. So this is the die that makes the tote. And what we're going to do, we'll go ahead and start with that. If you use 2 of these, then you can put them together and make it a 3D project, which is really cool. But we're not going to be putting ours together. Sorry. I have schnauzers. I have 2 of them. And somebody's doing something downstairs and she wants to be a part, or I would say she would protect me, but in actuality she would run away the opposite direction. So we are going to cut this little piece off right there because we don't need that. Let me see if I can find my snips. I don't there. And then, but we will be utilizing these parts as well. Okay, now to make it have the textured look, I ran it through an embossing folder, and this is one that is retired. It was just a celebration one from this past year. And let me grab that. I'm going to grab my little mini, and I think it was like, I want to say it was like, it's not Starburst. No, I'm not sure. I'll have to look up that one as well. So, but we are going to ink up the embossing folder, which is a cool way to do it. And let me see if I have I'm going to use a piece of paper so we don't make a mess. All right. And as weird as it is, you don't usually use the side that says Stampin' Up. You usually use the other side, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the Misty Moonlight stamp pad, turn it onto the folder, and just ink it up. As flat as you can get it is the best. All right, and then close that back up. And we want all of that to be in there. And let me see, which direction did I end up making mine? I guess, yeah, I think it only fits this one way. Another tip is if I put this down, it might wiggle. And so I find it easier to put it down on the non-inked side and then close it up on top of it. Just making sure I have enough ink everywhere. And I'm going to just press down and run it through the embossing. But I don't have it set up for that right now. So I have to get my other plate, and because I have it set up to cut. So let me get my, I just moved it, did I? No, I didn't, we're good. We're good, scared me. All right, let me get my other plate instead of this one, and we will run it through and you'll see the magic. All right, let's see if this is the right layer or not. Yeah, it feels like it. Okay, I just needed plate 3. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Okay. And then you'll see how fun that is. So that is what it does. It's a fun technique to use on all different aspects of your card. So there is that. The only problem with running it through is it makes your score lines a little more difficult to see, but that's okay. All right, let me grab so there's a score line here, and actually I think, yeah, that's right. And so I'm gonna go ahead and burnish my score lines. Okay, those, and then there's the one on the bottom. Okay, this one. Oh, yeah, that one. And this one. I love all the details in this set. It's just phenomenal. All right, so there, I've got all those done. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my Misty Moonlight again, and I'm going to get my Misty Moonlight dauber, and I'm going to just add a little more dimension to it. All right, what we're going to do with the dauber is on each of the score lines is I'm going to just add just a little bit of the Misty Moonlight. Let me do another one, and you'll be able to see, hopefully, a little bit of difference. So it just accentuates it. So again, just the little details. So I'm going to go all across the top as well. Like so. And this part won't show, but this one will, because the other one will be tucked up under. So, and then this one. Okay. I'm so glad that Misty Moonlight is a color that they brought back as one of the permanent ones. It's a great color. All right, so we've got all of those done that we need. And so let's see what else our next step would be. I think our next step, actually, I can leave this out because it wouldn't be a bad idea to go ahead and I've got all my little pieces over here, lots and lots of little pieces. So this is the little pocket piece, and it is in Misty Moonlight from its die cut. And I think, well, we could do it. I was going to say, one of the things that you could do is just to tap it like this all the way across, and that adds a little bit of dimension. But we can add just a tiny bit more by letting it go on the front ever so slightly. And then we'll have our front pocket. Okay, we're just going to glue that down with some Tombow liquid glue. Maybe, if I can get my glue. It was working just a moment ago. There it goes. Okay. All right. And kind of just center that. All right. And there's a little teeny tiny. There are lots of little pieces to this, but if you don't mind little pieces, it makes it really, really fun to work with and put together. The end result is amazing. All right, so here is, I've got some Tombow liquid glue in. You know what? I'm gonna tap this on all the edges as well. This is, all right, there. So it's just like a little, I don't know, little accent piece. Yeah, you can use them for different things on here. So I just thought it added just a little bit to it. So I'm going to put that there. You could also actually make this little pocket be open, and you could actually put things inside that pocket. All right, I think I will do the same thing. It's very difficult, or not very. It's a little difficult, a little challenging to put it on the little handle here. That's also in Misty Moonlight. But again, I think these little details make a difference. I should make one plain and one with the details, little details, and show you the difference. But anyway, all right. Let's see, that's enough, and we'll put that one on. So the only thing that's going to be glued on here would be these little tabs here. The rest will be free. And I've got these little applicators are on my favorites page on my website, if that's something you would be interested in owning. Okay, let's see. All right. Now, what else is missing? I think the rest of it we can probably put together in a minute. So I'm going to set the tote aside, and then we'll go to some stamping. We have the water bottles that I used, and let me grab my paper here, and I'm using the stamp, one of the stamps from it with the flowers to decorate the water bottles. So I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight on the, well, I'm going to call it Coastal Cabana, and then if I'm wrong, you'll know. All right, so we're going to do that one. Clean off the stamp, and then I will do the same on the pink with the petal pink. To me, it's really got more of a almost a coral color to it. All right, let's. All right. I haven't decided whether I like it to have. Okay. Whether the flower needs to be up at the top or not. All right, well, let me show you. I had to redo that one, but anyway, let me show you what the die looks like for that. And there's this little thing makes a slit, and this little piece is a separate itty bitty teeny tiny piece that is, I now have blue all over me, this little guy, which is like the hanger for the water bottle. And I actually didn't use this one. I actually used other colors. I used the green for this one, the blue for this one, and it's a little bit tricky, but what you can do is feed the end of this through that little slit, and then you've got a, and so that's what I did, and then I am going to use a dimensional right there to secure that on there. So that's how that works. That's kind of cool, but it's itty bitty. At first I thought it would be, you could do use some adhesive sheet, but I think this works just fine. So let me see if I can find my itty bitty blue one, and I'll do that to that one. Okay, let's see. And then, oh, and I forgot I also did the, pull that through. Yes, I did the Misty Moonlight with the dauber all the way around this as well. So it really makes it look more three-dimensional, like it's real and it's not as flat if you do that. And then actually I did just a little bit on this one too. You can kind of, actually you might be able to just kind of tap it on there. So, of course the bottom of it is going to be hidden inside the tote. All right, let's see what else we need to do. I think, let me show you, I'll do the sunglasses next. Let me slide those up there. This is the die for the sunglasses. And it's like, what in the world? It took me a minute to kind of figure it out. So you end up with one that's a hole and one that's whole, like that one. And kind of cool because this one cuts out both, and I ended up doing two different colors. And this is that Misty Moonlight color. This is the Petal Pink color. Now, I definitely need a adhesive strip on that, and I don't have one on this one. That's interesting. Okay, on all the other ones I do, so you need to pull off the adhesive strip and do like that, the adhesive sheet, because this is awfully skinny and it's very difficult to use the glue. But since I did not run this one through, I will use my glue. All right. But yeah, the adhesive strip sheet, I keep saying it ends up being a strip because it's free, but anyway, a strip of the adhesive sheet is what you need. All right, and then it's so cool, the details on this, because it's like, once you get it on there, it is like you're seeing the glasses folded up. So those are the sunglasses. And what else? Is that all we need to do on that? I think so. I think we can go ahead and work on our little magazine. All right, so this is, I've already stamped it with the Newsflash, You're Fabulous. And if you look really, really closely, you can see that there are indentations. And so this is like the spine of it. And so actually, this one is not, I put it too close. So, the Newsflash should be further over on this one, but we're going to put it together anyway. And one other thing that I did is, let me get out my piece here. I took the Stampin' Up marker in the Misty Moonlight, and I took a ruler. I love these rulers. They're another thing that is on my favorites list. And what I did was I took this one right here, that line right there. Now you're going to see how my stamp is a little bit too close, but I took the finer tip and I just went zoink like that, and that gives it. So now you can see. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to have to get a different one of those because that is going to drive me crazy. So, but that is how I put a line for the binder on that. So yes, I usually tell everybody to stamp first and then die cut out, but in this case, that doesn't work as well. Here's the die, and let's get out the stamp. Now that I've redone it, it'll be a lot easier to line it up correctly. So we don't want it way off to the left. So that is much better. And now I will use put that over there to be cleaned. Now we'll try it again. And there's that one line right there is what we need. And get our fine tip and just run it right through. Okay. Now, let's put our little magazine together. Now, it is a very odd size. So if you want to do this, you have to be a person that doesn't get frustrated by weird dimensions, because you end up basically needing 30 seconds or whatever. And I will put the dimensions on my blog again. And what I did to put it all together. So I cut another piece of the Very Vanilla that was the same as this, so that you have a front cover and a back. And then I cut just some copy paper, and a little bit smaller, and again, dimensions will be on my blog. And you could put as many pieces of the copy paper in it as you wanted. All right, so I'm going to get some tearing tape, and I'm going to put tearing tape. Here is the back. I probably need a little bit longer than that. Okay, and so, yeah, I'm going to put just a piece here, and you just barely want it to go over. And then I'm going to pull off the backing. And I'm going to kind of roll it back on itself and make sure nothing's hanging out on any of the sides. Okay? And then I'm going to put down, I'm working from the back forward. I'm going to put this piece down. Okay. Well, I'm going to do the same thing again. Okay, this one's a little bit short, so you just want just a little bit, because it is, the little binding is, it's tiny, but again, I think it's fun and I think it's worth it. Okay, so I'm going to bring that over, the next piece, and I'm making it go all the way to the side. I didn't quite get those even. And the very last one, and this time I think I will go from, I'll start on the cover side. All right, because you can see on the cover the line, and it's tiny. It's like maybe a third of the width of the tape. So pull that off. Okay, maybe. It's so small. This one's not wanting to come off. All right, let's see. I think I got it. Yep, okay. And then pull it over on itself. And then that on here. Line all that up. Wonderful. Okay. And then where that line is we are going to try to score it. Let me see. My head is probably getting in to the camera. And I apologize. All right. There we go. We can just bring all of them over. And now you have like a really cool magazine that you can open and write other messages in there. Now on mine, I used this sentiment that said, you're destined for great things. And this one comes from a new stamp set that has I don't remember the name of it, that has about sailing. So, because none of the other ones on here really would fit for this little magazine, but I thought it needed something. So that is what we're gonna do. So we will, because it fit, and there's lots of other ones. Whoa, we have that one upside down. I did not put that on there correctly. Let me wipe that off. Hang on. All right, let's try this again. All right. That's why I was having to read it backwards. Okay. Hopefully that'll work. Right. Like that. There we go. And let me show you how that's just going to look so cute in there. Okay. I thought about putting, there's a sun, there's a flower, and whatever, but to me, it should have, I don't know, you do whatever you would like. It's your card. Now, I think we are ready to start putting this all together, and it's not a big deal. So you've seen most of the cool stuff. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. We're just going to tap this onto the Misty Moonlight, because it does make a difference. Okay. Wonderful. Now let's put this together. We're going to get our card base, fold it up on the score line, and this will be Let's see, which way would I like it? Would I like it that side or more like this? This is pretty close to how we did it before. So if I remember correctly, the Misty Moonlight is 5 by 3. Well, you know what? I can measure it, can't I? But it'll be on my blog. I won't worry about it. It will be on my blog. So let's get this down. My glue keeps wanting to get stuck. All right, got it. So the Misty Moonlight background for a mat. And then that gets attached. And then there'll be some little dimensionals and things that we're going to add coming up. All right. So we've got that. All right, now to get this down, what we're going to do, we've cut that little piece off, but we're going to use these. These are going to be tucked under, and they're going to allow us to sort of have a little bit of, to let it be a little bit 3D. So let me move it. We will use the tear and tape once again. And this time the tear and tape fits just exactly, if I remember correctly. So yes. So we're going to put tear and tape here. And on this side, and then one on the bottom. Okay. And then pull the backings off. Let's see if I pushed it down enough, then the backings come off easily. And then if anything hangs over, you can just flip it over onto itself. Okay. Excellent. All right, and so now what we're going to do is decide where we want it, and I'm going to say right about there. And I'm going to press that down. So we flipped over under all of those, and like that. And then you still have a little bit of room to put all of those things in. And now we can put in our water bottles, and I said we were going to use a dimensional, just one of the mini dimensionals. It's going to go right, let me move that over. Let's see if I got it in the right spot. Turn it. Get it where it needs to be. Hang on. Okay, I think that looks about right. So I'm going to put a dimensional, little tiny dimensional right there. Then that's going to hold that down, and we'll pull the backing off. Whoop, there it goes. And put it over on this side. Okay, and then same thing with this guy. Okay, I think he's about in the right spot, so I'm just going to put a dimensional there to keep that down. Okay. And put this one in as well. Okay. So they're only attached just by the top, and you could certainly put in more if you wanted to. All right, let's do the little ribbon. Now this is a retired DSP that I believe came from a huge celebration pack. You might recognize it from a couple years ago. And I'm going to actually just put glue right there on the little knot of the ribbon, scarf, whatever, and put him right there. Okay, and these guys, I'm going to put glue on this one. I'm going to put dimensional on this one because it's going to be kind of on top of, I think I could use a bigger one. Let's see if a bigger one would be too big, if it would show. No, I think it'll be okay. All right, we're going to use a bigger dimensional right there. And then we're going to put glue on this part. So the right-hand side has glue because it's going to go here. It is now stuck to my finger. I'm going to become part of the card. All right, there we go. And then we have this little guy. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? Just love, love, love it. Oh my goodness. Love everything about it. All right, on the inside, let me flip it open. We're going to use a piece of the Very Vanilla and the Misty Moonlight for the back. And then what I did was I took let me grab my little scratch piece of paper, because I'm going to stamp off just a little bit off of the paper knots, and used these. And on mine, the original one, I made it kind of at an angle. I can't decide whether I like that or not, so I think on this one I'm going to make it straighter, and let's see which one we like better. Okay, so there's that one. Let me see, did I make the original one off? Oh, I did stamp off. Interesting. Okay. I don't know. I like it stamped off, and I might like it straight. So let's turn it over. Isn't that the nice thing about it is you usually get a second chance, okay? So let me try that. All right. So it was stamped off, and then the sentiment, let's see if I brought the sentiment in here. The Relax and Enjoy sentiment. I'm beginning to feel like a Smurf with all my blue. All right, Relax and Enjoy. I'm going to put that up here. And let's close up my ink because I think we're about done. All right, and we will glue those on. And I am so glad that you stopped by the treehouse to check this card out. And I hope that you'll go over to the blog and see what's there. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, I am live in the treehouse. And we make a card together. And I would love for you to join us. Currently we have a map going on, and if you are the first person from your particular country, territory, or state, you get to pick the color on the map. And I think we're missing about 17 states at this point. So if you're one of those, you can jump in and choose the color. All right. I think we did it. Let's see if it matches the original. Oh, you know, there's one thing I didn't do, and it's not a big deal. But, oops, I moved that. And that is, and I don't know if you can tell. I'm going to turn it around. Can you tell what I did in this one that I did not do in this one? There is an additional handle back there, and we can certainly stick that in there. Let me pull my magazine out, and we can put the handle in. I didn't want to put another one of these behind there, and because I thought it would just make it way too bulky. So, and then this one, I will put glue on all of it. And I will tuck that under. Let me see if I can get it underneath the bottle. I think I can move my bottle just ever so slightly out of the way. And you definitely don't have to do this. And I'm going to just match it to the best I can, to the other handle, and press it down. And then you have the two handles. It really looks like an open tote. So that is it, guys. I hope you like it. Please leave a comment and let me know, especially if there's something in particular that you learned or whatever. I love to know those kind of things. I love sharing creativity and ideas and things with you and giving you some inspiration. So I hope I inspired you. And don't forget to check out the live on each Thursday at 8 o'clock. And I think that's everything. I am so glad you joined me, and I look forward to seeing you next time in the treehouse. And I hope that your hands are create this week, and that your heart is blessed. And that's it from the treehouse. Thanks. Bye-bye.